You're going to quit, he tells me. You're going to look for a new job, sever all ties with Patrick, and sign a post-nuptial agreement that includes a fidelity clause. There are additional terms, but I'll save those for later. Hey, it's Matt. I met Evelyn at a networking event for young entrepreneurs in Chicago. I'm 24, standing at the front, talking about my small business, which I've poured years of hard work into, and now I'm sharing the results with others. She's 19, a college intern, standing at the back with a notebook, taking in every word I say. It's the first time I see her, but she feels familiar, like I've known her forever. She has that spark, you know, the kind that makes you want to listen, to learn, to go after whatever she's pursuing. Her eyes are wide with curiosity, and when she looks at me, it's as if she sees more than just a guy on stage. She sees someone who's worked hard, someone striving to build something meaningful. And it's clear she's playing the same game. Ambitious, driven, full of life. Even at 19, I see it in the way she grips her pen, like it's the key to unlocking everything she wants. After the event, I walk over to her, and for reasons I can't explain, I feel drawn to her. Normally, I'm the one in control, the one with a plan. But with her, I feel like I'm being led. We talk for hours about the event, business, life. She's different from the typical crowd I'm around. Focused, sharp, but still playful. It's not just her intellect that draws me in. It's the way she carries herself with confidence and warmth that feels like a breath of fresh air. She doesn't have the same hard edges I'm accustomed to in the business world. With her, everything feels lighter. I've been working tirelessly for years, building my business, staying focused. At 6 feet 4 inches and 228 pounds, I'm used to people noticing me because of my size or because I used to play football in high school and college. I've traded in my cleats for a suit, but some things haven't changed. I'm a grinder, the guy who shows up early and leaves late. But there's something about Evelyn that stops me. She isn't intimidated by me, not trying to impress me. She's just there, present, pulling me in. A few weeks later, we're dating, and I'm still surprised at how natural it feels. She's this whirlwind of energy and dreams, and I'm the solid ground beneath her feet. We balance each other. Her energy fuels my stability, and my calm keeps her grounded when things get too chaotic. Even when we're apart, I find myself thinking about her, wondering how someone so young can have such clarity of purpose. We build a life together, year after year. I support her as she dives into various passions, her ideas shifting, her goals expanding, and I'm here, cheering her on, providing the stability she needs. I don't mind it. I've always believed in supporting my partner, especially when they have a fire like hers. We never had children, not for lack of trying, but it wasn't meant to be. Perhaps that's why Evelyn had the freedom to explore everything she wanted, knowing I'd always be here to help. There's a certain peace in knowing I can provide, in being the steady, dependable guy. Hey, I'm Evelyn. I've always been someone who knows exactly what she wants. I had big dreams, endless energy, a thirst for life. But when Matt entered my world, everything seemed to fall into place. It wasn't that I didn't love him. I did, more than anything. He was my rock, the kind of person you could always rely on, no matter what. He had a quiet confidence that made everything seem effortless, even when it wasn't. I'd never met anyone like him. But there's always been this nagging feeling, this part of me that sensed something was missing. You know those wild years people talk about? The ones where you get to make mistakes, live without consequences, and really figure out who you are? I was swept up in Matt's world so quickly, so completely, that I barely had time to catch my breath. Matt worked hard, gave me everything I could ever want, and I could do whatever I wanted, as long as it fit within the boundaries of our life. But as the years passed, my career never seemed to take off. It always took a backseat to Matt's business. He was out there making moves, hustling, creating opportunities, while I stayed here in this quiet town, feeling a little lost, a little invisible. I knew he was happy with the life we'd built, but sometimes I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd missed out on something. My passions had been put on hold, and I couldn't help but wonder if I'd made a mistake, if I'd settled for comfort instead of chasing my own dreams. Then Patrick came into the picture. He was a new colleague at work, part of a corporate restructuring that had been happening for the past year. He was everything Matt wasn't: polished, outgoing, the kind of guy who could light up a room with his smile. And he noticed me, not in the steady, affectionate way Matt did, but with that spark that made me feel special. Patrick first complimented my work, then my style, the way I carried myself. At first, I thought nothing of it. He was just being friendly, professional. But as time went on, I started to notice the little things. The way his eyes lingered a moment too long. The casual touches. The way he'd laugh at my jokes, like I was the funniest person in the room. I didn't realize it at first, but I was starving for that attention. The kind of attention I hadn't gotten in a while. Patrick's compliments filled something inside me that I didn't even know was empty. It wasn't just about him being handsome or charming. It was how he made me feel alive, seen, in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. At first, it was harmless flirting. A few stolen moments in the office, when Matt was on a business trip or when I had a free lunch break. But it didn't stay innocent for long. One night, after an office event, Patrick and I found ourselves alone at the company Halloween party. The music was loud, the drinks flowing freely, and the tension between us, built up over months, finally came to a head. We kissed. I'll admit it, I was selfish. I let the moment carry me away. I told myself I was just exploring, just testing the waters. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. It wasn't just the affair, it was what it represented. A chance to feel something different, something raw, something reckless. I don't know when it crossed the line, but at some point, I stopped seeing myself as the person I used to be. The girl who married Matt. The one who was so sure of what she wanted. I became someone else. Someone who didn't know what she was looking for, but couldn't seem to stop herself from searching. It starts small, barely noticeable at first. Evelyn becomes more distant. She's always on her phone, texting constantly, even during dinner. At first, I try not to think much of it. Maybe she's just busy with work. But it's more than that. I can feel it in the way she holds her phone now. Always close, like it's a lifeline she can't let go of. When I ask her who she's texting, she tells me it's a distressed coworker who needs emotional support. I don't press her. Maybe it's true, maybe not. I want to believe her. I want to trust her. But something feels off. That Thanksgiving, everything comes to a head. I'm sitting at the table trying to enjoy the holiday, but I can't shake this nagging feeling. Evelyn's too distracted. She's barely eating, her eyes flickering to her phone, even as we talk about old family memories. When I ask her what's on her mind, she mumbles something about the coworker again, but I can tell she's lying. It's like she doesn't even try to hide it anymore. And I can't ignore it. There's a distance between us that's only grown since my appendicitis surgery in the summer. She's been more distant ever since I came home from the hospital. She was there, of course. But something was missing. I thought it was just me being sensitive after the surgery. But now I wonder if it was always there. I think about the quiet moments we used to share. The touch of her hand, the softness of her voice. And I realize I haven't felt that in a while. I don't know when it happened, when the trust started to slip, when she stopped being mine. But by May 2020, the cracks in the foundation of our relationship were too wide to ignore. The pandemic changed everything. She was working from home, and I was spending more time at the office, caught up in the chaos of work while the world crumbled outside. One afternoon, I came home unannounced, hoping to surprise her. What I found wasn't a surprise at all. It was a nightmare. I walked into the house and heard them before I saw them. I didn't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. Patrick's voice, too familiar, too close. I froze in the doorway. There they were, Patrick in my bed with my wife. She didn't even look up at me at first. She didn't even seem to register that I was standing there, watching the betrayal unfold before my eyes. My chest tightened. My heart pounds in my chest. And for a brief moment, it feels like the room is spinning, as if I'm trapped in a nightmare. But the brutal reality refuses to let go. I'm awake, wide awake, and this is happening. Her gaze finally meets mine, and I can see the shock in her eyes. But it's not the kind of shock you get when you're caught. It's the kind of shock someone feels when they never thought they'd be caught. And that's when the rage hits me, like a wave crashing down. I don't know if it's disbelief, the pain, or the years of love wasted that fuels my anger, but I don't care. I'm done. Get out, I say, my voice calm and steady. Evelyn stammers, trying to apologize, but there's no space left for apologies. There's nothing she can say to undo what she's done. This house, our home, where we built our life together, where I've worked endlessly to ensure everything was secure and safe for us, it's no longer a place of comfort. It's a constant reminder of what she's taken from me. It feels like a betrayal, not just of me, but of everything we built, of all the sacrifices I made for this family. Patrick tries to speak, but I don't want to hear it. I've never despised someone as much as I despise him right now. My fists are clenched, my body shaking with anger, but I don't lay a hand on him. I don't need to. I want him out of my sight, out of my life, out of everything that ever mattered. Evelyn's tears don't move me. I don't care about her regret or her apologies. I don't care about how much she loved me once. This moment will define everything. She made her choice, and now I'll make mine. Leave, I say again, my voice growing firmer. She doesn't argue. She gathers her things slowly, like she can't believe what's happening. I can't even look at her anymore. This was the woman I thought I'd grow old with, the one who shared my life and my dreams. Now she's just someone else, someone who shattered everything I thought was real. It's a blur at first, the moment I'm caught. 1 minute, I'm caught up in the rush of it all, Patrick's compliments, his attention, and the next, Matt is standing in the doorway, his face a mask of disbelief and fury. I can't even speak. My heart stops in my chest, as if everything I've ever known is collapsing. It's not just a shock of him catching us, it's the way he looks at me, like I'm a stranger. The man I've known for years, the one who built this life with me, now sees me as someone unrecognizable. It's a wound I'll never heal. His words hit harder than anything else. Get out! There's no hesitation, no pleading. He doesn't care about my apologies. I can see the hurt in his eyes, but I also see the coldness. He's done with me, and I can't blame him. The drive from our house feels like the longest one I've ever had. The shame weighs heavily in my chest. I can't call my parents, not because I don't want to, but because they'll never understand. They're too wrapped up in their old-fashioned values to see things for what they are. They'd blame me, or worse, disown me. My friends? I haven't even considered reaching out to them. They'd never look at me the same way. I end up at Jessica's place. She's my best friend, the only one who won't judge me. At least not right away. But I can feel her disappointment, and it cuts deeper than anything she could say. She doesn't ask questions at first. She just lets me cry, lets me vent, lets me fall apart. But the reality is sinking in. The mistake I made isn't something I can fix with tears. I've done something unforgivable, and I know it. I spend the next few days in a haze of guilt and regret. I never thought I'd be here. I never imagined that the excitement of something new would destroy everything I had with Matt. I thought I could keep it hidden, keep living the quiet, safe, familiar life I had. But it doesn't work like that. Once you cross that line, there's no turning back. Then the call comes. Matt wants to talk. I drive back to the house, my stomach in knots. I don't have hope or any expectations that things will change. He's going to tear me apart, and I deserve it. When I walk through the door, Matt is standing there. His face hard and unreadable. He doesn't waste time. "You're going to resign," he says. "You're going to find a new job. You'll cut off all contact with Patrick, and you're going to sign a post-nuptial agreement with a fidelity clause. There are other conditions, but he says he'll discuss those later." I nod, knowing I have no choice. This isn't a negotiation. It's a punishment, and I deserve it. I can't argue. I can't fight back. What's the point? I've already broken every promise I made to him. To us. "I'll do it," I say quietly. Almost ashamed at how quickly the words come out. But I don't hesitate. I know I have no other choice. The damage is done. I'm the one who caused this. And if this is what it takes to salvage even a shred of dignity, even a chance to fix things, even a little, I'll do it. Matt doesn't soften. He doesn't look at me with any more kindness than before. But there's something in his eyes, a flicker of resolve. He's made his decision, and now I have to live with it. I know this won't be easy. I know it won't be quick. But I'll spend every moment proving to him that I'm capable of change. Because what else do I have left? I always knew deep down that when Evelyn promised change after everything blew up, I didn't really believe her. I wasn't naive enough to think that someone like her could really change. A cheater is always a cheater, no matter how many times they promise to turn over a new leaf. I told myself I was being smart, giving it a chance. But the truth is, I wasn't fooling myself. I was protecting what I had left. The life I'd worked so damn hard for. That post-nuptial agreement wasn't just a formality. It was my safety net. The last thing I needed was to wake up one morning and find she'd drained me of everything I built. I'd seen it happen to others. Watched them lose their homes, their savings, all for something that wasn't real. And when it came down to it, I couldn't afford that. I couldn't risk it. Not again. Looking back now, I realized how ridiculous it was. Evelyn thought she could rebuild trust by playing the part, and I went along with it. But in the back of my mind, I wasn't waiting for her to prove me wrong. I was waiting for her to screw up, because I knew she would. I just didn't know when. 6 months later, the signs start again. The late nights, the constant phone checks, the whispered conversations, like she's hiding something. The lies weren't even creative anymore. I was too sharp to be fooled. Too aware of how this had played out before. I felt the ground shifting beneath me. The same damn pattern was repeating. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed to be sure. So I hired a private investigator. The report came back, photos, texts, times, locations. There they were, Evelyn and Patrick, meeting at a hotel. My stomach churns just thinking about it. But it's what I expected. I should feel satisfaction, but all I feel is cold numbness. It wasn't about revenge. It was about closure. The question I'd been asking for months was finally answered. She couldn't help herself, she never could. That evening, when she walks into the living room, I already have the evidence laid out on the table. I'm calm, collected. She doesn't know yet. She sits down, looking at me like everything's fine, like she hasn't been caught in the most blatant act of betrayal imaginable. I hand her the photos and texts. Her face is almost pitiful. At first, she tries to deny it, to explain it away. But the lies are too thin this time. As soon as she sees my face, the complete lack of surprise in my expression, she crumbles. Please. I didn't mean for it to happen, she says, her voice trembling. But it doesn't move me. I look at her. Her teary eyes, the desperation in her tone. I almost pity her. Almost. But I'm past that. I've been here before, and I'm not playing this game again. The post-nuptial agreement, I say, my voice cold. It goes into effect now. Her face goes pale. She knows what that means. No more cushy life. No more pretending that we're going to work things out. It's over. You have 24 hours to pack your things, I say, my voice unwavering. After that, you're out. Don't try to take anything else from me. You've already taken enough. She stares at me, frozen. I don't care what she says now. I'm not listening. There's nothing left to salvage. Her voice cracks as she starts pleading, but I'm not interested in any more of her apologies. I don't want to hear it. It's too late for that. The woman I once loved is gone. In her place is a stranger who betrayed me in the worst way. As I watch her pack, I don't feel satisfaction. I don't feel triumph. It's just an end. I'm glad to be done with the drama, the lies, the facade. I'm not losing anything this time. I sit down and reflect on what just happened. That post-nuptial agreement saved me. It saved my future. Evelyn's betrayal didn't cost me everything. The house is still mine. The business is still mine. And more importantly, I'm still standing.